You were doing so well, News 12, this weekend, but you're back to your antics with the South Shore again, covering stories on the South Shore. Well, some really serious things that should have been the top story weren't. No, their top story was, and you'll see in the clip that I'll have coming up, they were in Babylon. Yeah, talking about feral cats. That's their top story. Not this, which is certainly a lot more disturbing. We have the situation where substations were attacked on Long Island. That's right. Substations, power substations were attacked. This is a big deal. How does News 12 not cover it? Well, because the substations weren't on the South Shore. That's why. So we're going to read this statement from, News 12 barely covered it, but we're going to read the statement from the district attorney's office in Suffolk County here. It says 2 men indicted for 3 arsons at PSEG facilities and 9 commercial burglaries. Frank Costa and John Pucci allegedly set fire to PSEG Long Island substations to facilitate their burglaries of nearby commercial establishments. So they were trying to cause power outages so they could commit burglaries. Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond A. Tierney today announced that the Frank Costa, 54, Port Jefferson Station, and John Pucci of 29 of Middle Island were indicted for allegedly committing a series of 3 arsons and 9 commercial burglaries at businesses throughout Suffolk County. These alleged criminal acts have not only caused extensive damage, but they have also put the lives of Suffolk County residents and first responders at risk, said D.A. Tierney. I thank the Suffolk County Police Department for their thorough investigation in this case. Now my office will ensure that these defendants are held accountable for their alleged extremely dangerous crimes. So, according to the investigators, between August 20th, 2023 and February 9, 2024, Costa and Pucci allegedly burglarized 9 businesses and set fires at 3 PSEG Long Island substations. The defendants apparently believed the fires would cause power outages in the local community, which would distract law enforcement while Costa and Pucci committed their burglaries. On February 10th at approximately 12 a.m., Suffolk County Police Department detectives followed Costa and Pucci to a PSEG Long Island substation in an easement in Centereach and then placed them under arrest. So this is very disturbing. We've seen this in other parts of the country, and now it's coming here. While police searched the location, they discovered an ATM that was allegedly stolen from a Shell gas station in Ridge the day before. Money from the ATM was allegedly found in the defendant's pockets after the arrest. So the alleged arsons occurred on the following dates and locations. August 20th, 2024, PSEG Long Island Terryville substation. September 16th, 2023, PSEG Long Island Centereach substation. And on February 5th, 2024, PSEG Long Island Medford West Yaphank substation. Of course, all in the middle of the island or maybe toward the North Shore. And it looks like every single burglary that they committed here, these are all middle of the island. December 11th, 2023, USA Gas, 1146 Middle Country Road, Middle Island. They actually hit it twice on the 11th and 26th. And then on the 26th, they also hit BP Gas. It's 1470 Middle Country Road, Ridge. December 29th, Gulf Gas, 240 West Main Street in Smithtown. December 31st, 2023, BP Gas, 3200 Veterans Memorial Highway in Bohemia. On January 12th, 2024, Ideal Food Basket in Port Jefferson. And in January 12th, DJM Laundromat, 1 Glenmuir Lane in Coram. It may be a little hard to read because of the graphics here. January 24th, 2024, Backcountry Deli, Horseback Road, Yaphank. January 30th, 2024, Kings Park Car Care, Kings Park, 189 Main Street. And on February 9th, the Shell gas station located at 1511 Middle Country Road in Ridge. So they've been hitting Ridge very hard, and they're charged with 1 count of criminal possession of a weapon and the first degree. That's a Class B violent felony. 9 counts of burglary in the third degree, Class D felonies. 3 counts of criminal mischief in the second degree, Class D felonies. 1 count of attempted burglary in the third degree, a Class B felony. And 1 count of criminal possession of stolen property in the fourth degree, a Class C felony. And 3 counts of arson in the fifth degree, a Class A misdemeanor. On February 27th, Costa was arraigned on the indictment before Acting Justice Richard Horowitz, who ordered that Costa be held on $150,000 cash or $500,000 bond or $1 million partially secured bond during the pendency of the case. Costa is due back in court on March 19, 2024. And Pucci's case is pending, so these guys aren't getting out. Good thing that really, this should have been the top story on News 12. What the hell is wrong with News 12? You led with Babylon and a bunch of snobs upset about feral cats when we could have had a major power outage in Suffolk County. Are you kidding me? So this is, they only barely covered it. They spent 36 seconds on it. I mean, it's shameful.
Prosecutors say stole an ATM from a Ridge gas station.
News 12, you should be ashamed of yourself. This should have been your lead story, but you were back here into the snobs again today, and that's why you're getting called out.
They're facing new charges tonight. They've been indicted for allegedly setting three fires at PSEG substations and carrying out 9 commercial burglaries. Prosecutors say Frank Costa of Port Jefferson and John Pucci of Middle Island set those fires to distract police while they robbed gas stations and other stores. The men were arrested at a PSEG facility in Centereach earlier this month.
Middle of the island,
police say they found the stolen ATM there and the money in the suspects' pockets.
So this is what, even the middle of Suffolk County is dealing with this stuff now. I'll show you where the substations are, and they're major substations. This is one of them right here. This is the one in Centereach. Where they tried to set a fire from. I mean, really disturbing. Very, very disturbing stuff. There was an article in Newsday about this, too. There are no street views in the substation. Are there? Hold on a second. What is this? No, that's Planet Fitness. Somebody put, I don't know what did over there, but it's in this area here. So they hit this substation here, and then they also hit this substation over here. This one here, Terryville substation, very disturbing, and hoping that PSG Long Island is increasing the security at their substations because this is very disturbing. This is the substation right here. There are fences in them, but still very, very disturbing that they could have caused a major power outage. Luckily, they didn't, but they still caused damage to the facilities nonetheless. This is a big deal. This is infrastructure. They should be charged with a federal crime. And then the third substation was in Yaphank, Medford. Not sure where that one is. I think it could be this one here, perhaps. But I mean, this is what goes on. And News 12 wants to talk about a bunch of snobs upset about feral cats and Babylon. So, yeah, it's pretty disgraceful. It really is. And you can see, look at them here. I mean, they're just. I mean, this should not have been the top story. All right, there's no. I mean. They're all white. Every single one of them is white. There isn't one person of color in that entire room. It's all about the privileged white people and their little happy little world, while the rest of us get to deal with all the problems and being forgotten again. News 12 did such a good job this weekend, but apparently maybe there was just a different news director on. Now they're back gearing to, the usual people. With all that's going on across Long Island, News 12's decided to make this their lead story. And they did a nice job on the weekend. Once again, they gear into a certain demographic. They're in Babylon, talking about some nonsense with feral cats. All that's going on Long Island. That's their lead story tonight.
First tonight, a fight over feral cats.
It's unbelievable.
Suffolk Village may soon ban residents from feeding animals or keeping them. They say it's a matter of public safety.
News 12's Tamara Ponton was inside tonight's public hearing as residents gave village leaders an earful.
I mean, this is their lead story.
Cruelty label like you wouldn't believe. Pleas for help and hope for feral cats tonight, as dozens
this
of
is
people
their lead story.
packed to the Babylon Village Hall.
You need one person of color there.
Not to go forward with a proposed ban on feeding or harboring.
Please leave. You can't keep doing this.
The mayor says residents have been complaining about a person feeding feral cats, specifically in Southern's Pond Park.
Southern's Pond. That's the place I go walking all the time. Unbelievable that this is their lead story, and meanwhile somebody was killed in Hempstead, and I think they barely covered it.
Plates of food, and the plates are blowing into Southerns, and the food is now not just staying on the street, but going into Southerns. We've had raccoons come out.
Everything's got to be perfect in their little world,
Animal advocates are pushing for the village.
Should be lucky that's the only problem you deal with.
Neuter, and release advocates and organizations.
So this is their top story tonight.
to help with the
This is
feral
their
cat
top
problem.
story,
Antoinette?
with all the everything else going
Figure
on.
out something soon. Thank you, Tama, for that report. Well, some answers tonight after a body was removed from a Hempstead home. Detectives say a 61-year-old man died of blunt force trauma.
Yeah, they barely covering
to the head.
this.
Now, we're told that police were called to the Maryland Avenue home around 11 Monday morning for a man not breathing. He was pronounced dead just minutes later. Well, Nassau Police tonight
And they barely
also
covered
telling
it.
us why they tased a man last night in East Rockaway. Again,
We got this
With
one.
some strong winds and warm temperatures. 56
Yeah, she's
for
back
your
again.
high
It was
on
nice. She
Wednesday.
was
Now
off
this
last
morning,
week. It was
there
wonderful.
will be a couple of breaks
But,
here and there through the day, but just keep the umbrella handy pretty much all day long. We'll
You're not a
have
weather
heavier rain
person.
coming
Go
through
back.
the
Go back
evening.
to
Winds
Long
will be
Beach.
strong out of the southwest,
But
gusting maybe as high as
you know
40
who she
miles per
gears
hour,
to.
especially
So.
by the evening. First batch of rain is
She's
passing
like
by
your
right
typical.
now.
She's like the typical South Shore woman. I mean, really typical.
Now, if we
It's
look at your rain
unbelievable.
chances for Wednesday, pretty much all day, especially around lunchtime and then again in the evening, 6 o'clock to about 9, 10 o'clock. We're watching a strong front come through that will bring in colder air.
Where's she
around
showing? The
heavy
South
rain
Shore, of
and then
course.
strong winds gusting 20 to 45 miles per hour.
Somewhere on the
We'll have
South
more
Shore.
details ahead in your full force.
Toward the
That
South
price
Shore.
will go down to
That
zero.
quad's kind of a.
Starting this Friday, every student
Oh,
in the
look what's
Drexmont School District will have access to free breakfast and lunch. That's after a program by the U.S. Department of Agriculture was expanded to include an additional 180
And
Long
Pitch
Island
Pine.
For that breakdown, some much needed help there for sure. Convictions in the murder of a rap icon. Details and more on your weather next.
So.
Windy weather is coming up on Wednesday before temperatures turn much colder.
I'll see you in Rockville Center Friday night. So, lastly, we're going to read this article that News12 never even bothered to put on their website. And it says, a Long Island man has been arrested after he became violent while being treated at the hospital. So this is something that News12 did cover, but we only had the video on it. And they only briefly covered it, too. But it says, on East Meadow, Sunday, February 25th, 55-year-old Vincent Petrillo, a Mineola resident, was being treated at Nassau University Medical Center located at 2201 Hempstead Turnpike. At just after 1 p.m., he became violent, swinging a wheelchair footrest at a 68-year-old nurse and injuring his hand. While staff attempted to restrain Petrillo, he also injured another 60-year-old physician in the knee. He was placed under arrest and charged with 3 counts of assault. So, at least we have we have a story for this. But I mean, News 12, as you saw there, I mean, they're covering they're covering a bunch of stuff that's about the South Shore, people in their little enclaves down there. While the rest of us are just like, they covered some stuff in the middle of the island, but the most serious things that happened is somebody trying to shut down, cause a blackout on Long Island. That should easily be the top story. I don't know who the news director is, and I don't know who the news director is tonight, but you whoever you are, you stink, all right? You shouldn't be the news director because this should have been the top story, all right? Obviously, I think maybe during the weekend they have a different news director. They're probably from the middle of the island. But now we got one of the South Shore snobs who doesn't care about crime in the middle of the island and all upset about feral cats in Babylon just because. It's disgraceful. This is a major story. And I don't even think any of the city stations covered it, if I'm mistaken. Let's just see here. Yeah. We'll do burglary. We'll do this. Search to see if we can. All right. So let's see. Maybe we have some other stories from the New York City. No, not even a video. You see, this is the problem. People are like, watch the city stations. They don't even cover us. I mean, this is a big deal. This is a freaking big deal. Here's the article from the Patch. This is a big deal. All this stuff. This is the statement from the. I'll link this because this one's easier to read than the one from the DA. It's the same thing, but it's typed better. But the fact is, they were trying to cause blackouts so they could rob people. That's pretty disturbing, and that should easily be the top story. Why is it being ignored? We all know why it's being ignored, of course. We all know why. Well, sorry, it's the middle of the island. It's not the South Shore. It doesn't affect the very important preppy white people who work on Wall Street. It doesn't affect them. So therefore, we're not going to really consider it important. You know, F the media. You guys stink.